What's up, horror fam?
You know what time it is.
And today we got a special guest. Let's get into this. That's a
Hey,
second.
Karen, how are you?
Hi.
Welcome to the Horror Chronicles.
Thank you.
See, guys, see, horror fam, how easy it is to get on the show. Like we literally are just having a conversation.
Especially if you let JT figure out all the settings on the computer. But hey, Karen, how are you?
I am doing great.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
You coming through okay over there?
Yes.
You're coming through beautiful.
Sweet. So yeah, we were kind of talking a little bit before we started recording here, and
Yeah, Karen was chewing our ass.
she said, "You
Yes, I
fucking
am."
assholes." No, I will tell you this.
First of all, I hope you don't mind that Ryan curses like a sailor.
yes,
So do I.
Okay, cool. You
Yeah.
two will get along great.
I'm
going to leave the room.
I got no filter. So,
My filter died the day I was born.
Oh!
yeah, I don't think I was born one. So, but yeah, no. You had mentioned. Oh, matter of fact, why don't you introduce yourself real quick? Since
Yeah.
You know.
My name is Karen, and I currently reside north of Houston. And I've been in Texas 40 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I've lived everywhere but El Paso and Austin.
Awesome.
Holy
awesome.
cow, you've been all over the place.
Yeah.
Military kid.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And now you're part of the horror fam, and you got a hold of us like we always ask people to do. And
Yeah, but she actually did it.
exactly. You know, you got a hold of us and was like, "Hey, yeah, come on, show." So we're like, "Sweet, that's what we want to do. We want to have a conversation with you guys." And everyone, you know, it's I don't know if they're scared or if they just think that
They're scared. They're scared.
that's not going to work out good. Maybe a little bit of both, but it's just a conversation, really. I mean,
I'm telling you, you leave a bad taste in people's mouths, dude.
I've never heard that.
That's a loaded statement.
Loaded.
Literally.
Exactly.
Literally. But no, you had mentioned our last episode, and you said that we had forgot a couple movies. But I will say, we did an episode a little while back, and we were just doing like movie suggestions, and I did mention Trilogy of Terror. And we did a whole episode on Phantasm already. Phantasm is probably one of my all-time favorite series of all time, period. Maybe my number one. We talked about it on here. We did a whole episode on it. I love it. We can talk about it some more if you'd like.
Yeah.
Trilogy of Terror literally made me afraid of any kind of voodoo type dolls for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents have a kitchen witch from Germany that looks like that stupid doll.
So what is it now? That's a kitchen what?
It's called a kitchen witch from Germany. They're used to protect homes
Oh,
from
sweet.
fire.
Nice.
And my parents brought it back from Germany, and it looks like this gnarly, witchy thing with this black hair. And after I saw Trilogy of Terror, that thing sat in a cabinet with the door closed with glasses in front of it for years.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That's cool. I didn't know.
that's
I didn't know
cool.
nothing about
Yeah,
no
I'd
kitchen
never
witch.
heard of that.
That's pretty cool.
A kitchen witch.
Yeah,
So-
kitchen witches protect your house from fire.
Oh, sweet.
That's what I
Sweet.
used to
Supposedly.
react to.
So far, it's worked.
Oh, sorry.
That would be called a bathroom witch.
Yeah.
I'm just.
But but no. Phantasm is a great place to start off because I actually just watched part 3 the other night. Just Friday night I watched part 3. I love the whole series. It's a big part of my childhood. That's one of the first horror movies. The first horror movie I ever remember watching. Period.
That was my second horror movie I ever saw.
Yeah.
The first one I ever saw was the Trilogy of Terror, and I was 7.
Yeah.
And my dad kept telling me, "You don't want to watch this. You don't want to watch this." And I'm like, "Yes, I do." And then for 3 days, I couldn't look at that stupid thing in the kitchen. And then Phantasm I saw when I was 8 or 9. Yeah, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And it just spiraled out of control from there. because I did. My dad was hoping to cure my collecting of creepy dolls by letting me watch House of Dolls, where they came to life at night.
Yeah,
And that didn't work. It just made it worse.
Yeah. And then we talk about that on the podcast quite often, how like, it's funny that this stuff that's supposed to be creepy and all that stuff, or, not the norm, actually brings people together and makes them fucking kind of connect. It's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I screwed my daughter up from the get-go because at 2, I let her watch Gremlins.
Yeah.
And I had the pink Barbie car with the stuffed gremlin, and I pushed it down the stairs during that scene. And
Oh, nice.
I mean, right as she turns around, it's on the TV and it's in front of her.
Yeah.
And for
Traumatized
about
the
3, she hated that thing until she was about 16.
Nice.
Made her keep the stuffed animal, and she would hide it in her stuffed animals, and I would wait till she went somewhere, and then I would unpack it and put it in a prominent place. It was like Gremlins was Elf on the Shelf year round.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's awesome. Yeah, see, like for me, my son, my oldest, I feel like I kind of screwed up with him because I let him watch, like Annabelle and things like that ever since he was like 2, something like that, 3 years old. And then my problem is that he loves it. So, like, literally for his 3rd birthday, he got Annabelle Curation. That's what he wanted for his birthday. And then, he's always wanting to watch Michael Myers. And, like, I'm kind of at that stage now where I'm like, I'll let him watch the paranormal stuff and maybe the werewolf and vampire stuff. But when it comes to serial killers, I don't want him to see.
You don't want to scar him that bad yet.
Yeah, with the violence. That's one thing about seeing, that's a monster. It's killing people or whatever. It's another thing to say, hey, that's a human who has no soul and he's fucking stabbing people and sticking them to the fucking wall with a fucking butcher knife.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard to explain to him.
My daughter was over the slasher movies by the time she was 10. She was like,
nice.
Mom, the same she literally sat down at 10 years old watching movies and goes, who would wear high heels in the woods?
Yeah, see, and it's common sense. And that's my son too, because he asks questions all the time about everything. So he's like, "Well, how is this possible with this, and how is this?" And I'm like, "Look, man, you just gotta watch the movie and just enjoy it for what it is." Now slasher films, I let him watch Halloween H2O because that was the one of the series that really wasn't that bad, and he wanted to watch
one of your imagination ones that made it worse.
Yeah, and I was like, well, he really wants to watch Michael Myers. I showed him a video of my son freaking out, running around, crying because I want to watch Michael Myers. And I'm like, look, dude. So I let him watch that one. It's not too bad. So he liked it. I'm kind of waiting for build up. So now my youngest son just turned 4. He likes Goosebumps and the shit like that I grew up on when I was little. So that's where I want to go with my oldest, but I kind of screwed up and let him watch shit ahead of that. So I had to kind of kick it back a little bit and be like, okay, we're going to go back to Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of Dark and then go from there. So it's working out pretty good now. So
I don't let my kids watch shit. My wife said to me the other day, she said, you know why your dog bites you all the time? I said, why is that? She said, because you were off work for a week. And you did nothing but watch horror movies. And that's where she got that shit from.
I can understand that. Mm-hmm. Well, see, I let my daughter, I raised her started her out with Poltergeist. And it got really creepy because the first Halloween that...
Please, not the remake.
No, the original only.
Yes, 1982.
She literally did not want to pool in the backyard after that. And the other thing she did was my dad had one of those old TVs, and I caught her in the living room. My dad walked out of the room, and she's literally in the dark room with the little white noise, snow. And she goes, they're here. And she did it in the exact voice. And my dad looks at me and goes, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. She creeped my dad out. That was cool. And then the other one I raised her on was the Goosebumps books.
Yes.
We started those. Sure. That was our traveling book. And then the other one was Creepshow.
Creepshow.
Yes.
Fantastic.
She's actually met the whole cast. She met the guy who did the voice for the Creep Show.
Oh,
Nice.
sweet. Awesome.
Because she's the one that goes to Frightmare.
Oh, right on, right on.
Yeah, I cannot wait to start going to
We've
conventions.
been wanting to do some conventions, but man,
She
this
loves.
COVID shit.
Oh, I know, but she loves Frightmare, and I had never actually walked in. I usually drop her off at the hotel and leave. I'm like, have fun.
Yeah.
She doesn't like to drive in Dallas. And she dragged me in there so I could watch the horror trailers and had me serenaded by dead zombies.
Sweet.
That was my welcome to Frightmare, and I was like, okay, I can deal with this.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's funny. You talk about Goosebumps too. Reading, because my 4-year-old just turned 4 actually in November, but since he was like 3, he wants my wife to read him Scary Stories Told in the Dark.
Oh, those are
So
great.
he hands out the little books on Halloween, so I snatched one of those up on Halloween. And my son he wants my wife to read those to him now. That's what he wants to get read to him.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, so
get them started now, because then they won't be afraid later in life. They've already seen it all.
oh yeah, there's zombie hunters.
But then there's the other side of that, though, is, once you've had all this stuff pushed into your brain, and, it kind of takes away some of the, I don't know, the mystique of it.
See, I keep that part.
I debate that.
Yeah,
You keep it real.
I keep it with, because my son, like my 4-year-old, he'll come up to me and be like, "Dad, are ghosts real?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." Or he'd be like,
"What?"
He'd be like,
bed right now.
he'd be like, "I think there's a werewolf outside." I'm like, "Well, you better stay inside then. You don't want a werewolf to get you." I'll kind of let him.
Yeah.
That actually works.
Yeah.
That does work, because my grandparents had a well in their backyard, and my grandmother was part Native American, and she very much never let our imagination die.
Yeah.
If nothing else, she escalated our imaginations.
Yeah.
She had 27 grandchildren. She always had 8 grandchildren in the house at once. So when you have 8 grandchildren in the house of different ages, talk about pushing creativity and imagination.
Oh, yeah.
We had one person, she would put something in their brain and it would escalate from there.
Oh, yeah.
We had my little brother convinced to stay out of the well in the backyard, that the creature from the Black Lagoon lived in it. And if you went in it, you were his dinner.
Yeah.
So he never went near the well. I never had to worry about him falling down the well.
Yeah. See, and
that's what works, I mean, sometimes
Timmy and Lancy.
Yeah.
sometimes having the imagination was great as a kid, because that part of my brain never shut down. So I see more and hear more than most. I pick up on stuff more than most people do.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we talk about that all the time. I mean, and that's like with me, I'm just a big kid at heart with that stuff, because, you never lose that imagination. And then once you keep that with you, and then you figure out that things are actually there. There's certain things that, like ghosts, demons, possibly all this there's actual things out there. That enthuses what's the word I'm looking for? Enthuses me even more, in that, knowing that there's something else out there for real. And now I get to go as an adult and actually check this shit out.
Yeah.
And try to prove it.
Yeah.
It.
Like, I know he's going to hate this, because what I'm about to bring up, because I do it all the time now. But like my oldest son watches Supernatural with me all the time. Like I'm like, I told him, I
got the Winchester.
Oh, shit.
See,
I collect them all.
I literally just started watching that last November.
Yeah, it was
It was November.
End of the year last year.
It was like November.
And he hasn't shut up about
I'm 13. I'm on season. I'm almost done with season 13 since November. And there's 23 episodes in each one.
Right, and then it drops to 22 after that.
What size underwear Dean wears.
Well, here's my thing about it.
I don't even know what size underwear he wears.
He probably doesn't.
Everyone for years.
No, that would be Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone for years is like, hey, you got to check this out. It's right down your alley. And to me, I was just like, I seen the posters. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I just want me to watch because there's pretty boys on here doing whatever, you know. But then I'm like, fuck it, I'll finally watch it. And I was like, fuck. Because then I loved, like, the first episode, I was like, son of a bitch. Now I'm going to want to watch this.
Yeah, we watched it for about a year and a half, and I don't know, we both kind of got burned out on it.
It depends. Well, you got to understand with Supernatural, season 1 through 4 were great. You had 5, 6, and I think 7 of where it was kind of like iffy because they went away from the original
storyline,
which was a monster a day, you know, a monster a week. And then they went back to that, but added in a bigger storyline.
Yes, huge.
But you had the monster of weeks, which made more sense to me. But I like the fact that Supernatural, Walking Dead, those kind of made horror cool again.
Hold on a second. You froze up for a second there.
Oh. No, Supernatural and Walking Dead made it cool again.
Oh yeah,
they made horror cool again.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to get at too with Supernatural is the reason why I brought it up is because my son now. What's really cool about that show, and I'm on season 13 now, almost done with it, is that they bring every fucking thing together. So like in this world, there's not just this world. There's fucking multiple dimensions, and
more dimensional beings.
Well, yeah. Well, so Loki. So like Loki and Gabriel, the archangel, in the show, they butt heads. They fight each other. You know, so they bring all this shit together. Everything is real. So like, and my oldest son, he's a very smart kid. Had to have got it from his mom because he damn sure didn't get it from me. But he's a very intelligent kid, and so is my youngest. But like, he asks questions. He knows things, and he's like, "So how is this and this together?" And I'm like, "Well, that's how it is, I think." He asked me, like, what do you believe I'm like, I think there's dimensions. I think there's different levels of different things. There's another world out there, you know? And he soaks all that in. He really likes it because it brings all this stuff in, but they also, in between, they kill fucking monsters and shit like that, you know?
But they also don't go against the core paranormal.
Yeah.
What's up, horror fam? Welcome to the Supernatural edition of the Horror Chronicles.
He's pissed right now.
Sidetrack for a second. I'm sorry.
I'm not pissed at all. I don't watch it. I haven't watched it in, I don't know, 97 years.
It's just a different genre of horror.
Wait till I tell him we're going to do a whole series on Supernatural.
Oh Lord. You may have to get guest host. You may have to get guest host and let him take a vacation.
Nice.
Oh no. He's going to sit here and listen.
I was trying to give you an out. We'll have guest hosts.
He don't have to say shit, but he's going to listen.
We can't do that until you let me do the Conjuring universe.
We are going to do that for sure.
That'd be actually kind of cool.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, we got so much in the works. It's a lot of stuff would have happened in 2020, but with this bullshit, really fucked. I mean, we still
it's weird. We've still been getting together every week and trying to, we did take a couple of weeks off during the holidays this year. That's why, sorry everybody, you didn't get a new episode last week, but
we took one day actually off. We recorded some episodes ahead of time.
This 2020 really screwed us up.
2020 will be a cuss word from here on out.
Yeah. But my thing is that
you can go 2020 yourself, buddy.
Exactly. Somebody's gonna go, so how was your week? It was so 2020.
Yeah.
100%. And the thing is that we still did good. Our horror fam, as we call them, everyone is still growing. Our Facebook page still growing. It just sucked because we really had a lot of stuff planned on doing some investigations in 2020. We had plans on going to conventions.
Some conferences set up.
Conferences.
Well, now you can plan big and better investigations.
Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. Trust me. We have so much going on. And I was telling JT.
We've got a book over here of stuff that we're looking at that is going to be crazy.
I was telling JT, eventually we're going to have to get some people who are, in the horror fam to help us out. But hey, who figure out who we need and who we can trust enough to maybe put him as an admin on the Facebook page and have him be able to make posts and things like that. And Then we're going to have connections with people like you in Texas. We'll have
No,
connections.
you come
there.
to Texas, I will show you all the haunted spots of Houston.
Oh, we're coming. We're coming.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. It's going to happen.
Oh, no,
I've spent
I'm sorry.
I've spent over 20 years here, and I have had some freaky experiences.
Nice,
here.
and you're going to tell us about all those.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one big thing, if we can get away with it, we're going to try and hit Texas for the Frightmare.
Yes.
I think y'all would love it. Even if you just go as just weekend visitors for the whole thing and enjoy the ambiance, it is. My daughter always loves to go. Even if she doesn't have money, she's like, you get to hang out with people.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Like for us this year, we're going to try and make it. And if we do, we're going to go just for ourselves.
Yeah.
Get a layout of it, see how it works, maybe make some connections while we're down there. And then the next year, hopefully get a booth or maybe possibly. And then
Yeah, see, like this year we've got an invitation to the Haunted America Conference in Alton. So we're going to hit that
Where's
up.
Alton?
Illinois.
Alton, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Alton, Illinois is considered one of the most haunted small towns in America.
I would
And-
debate that with being to Gettysburg.
But Gettysburg is a big town. Alton is a small town.
When I went, it wasn't a big town.
Do you ever read books about the paranormal?
Constantly.
Have you heard of the author Troy Taylor?
Yes.
Okay, Troy Taylor is from Alton. Every
Okay.
year he does this conference called the Haunted America Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually, we were supposed to be there last year, and they ended up canceling it, so we're going this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I just got tickets for Transworld, the Halloween Expo in St. Louis. I'll be hitting that up this year.
And
There's
y'all
a
are
lot
in
of stuff
Missouri,
we got
right?
going on.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to keep track of my people here because
Yeah.
I found y'all through Jerry and Tracy.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm the
Yeah,
one
it's
that did
funny.
their plaque.
Right.
Do what?
I'm the one that did their plaque.
You're kidding me. Oh my
No.
God, that's killer. You did an awesome job on that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I do altar tables and all sorts of stuff like that. And he had talked about getting a sign. I was like, dude, let me burn your logo.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome, man. That turned out killer.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
He forced me to start an Instagram.
Yeah, Jerry is fantastic. It was really funny when we first got started. I sent Jerry a message through Facebook, and it was funny because I just sent him a message. Hey, would it ever be possible for us to have a conversation? And he messaged me back like immediately. He was like, absolutely. And he didn't know me from Adam, never even heard of me, and he was like, you want to do it through Facebook or you want to do it over the phone? I said, can we do it over the phone? And I sent him my phone number, and he was like, sure. He said, I'm getting ready to leave. I'm going to make an hour-long drive. I'm driving from one store to another. I'll call you whenever I get on the road. And like 20 minutes later, he calls me, and it was funny because I was at work. And when I saw my phone ring, I was like, who the fuck is that? Oh, shit. Okay, Anyway,
Yeah.
I expected to be on the phone with him like 5-10 minutes at the most. We were on the phone for over an hour. It was insane.
Him and Tracy are the one that got me hooked on podcast.
Yeah, he is such a good
actually the ones that
person,
got me
man.
hooked. He really is.
He has helped us out tremendously.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's like I was telling JT when I said we should start a podcast because
The first thing out of my mouth was, "What the fuck's a podcast?"
because I work for a delivery
And now
company.
I are one.
Yeah, I work for a delivery company, so I listen to podcasts for fucking 12 hours a day. While
I
I'm
was
driving
listening
around.
to him for 8 hours a day because I was in aerospace and I did all the data entry for aerospace.
Yeah, see, so and I work for a delivery company, so while I'm driving,
Damn, she's way too smart to be on this podcast.
yeah, our IQ levels just went up a fucking ton. But no, I listen to
I
Jerry
am
and
smart.
Tracy. Yeah, I is smart. But
I was a college graduate.
I listened to Jerry and Tracy. I actually introduced him. I was like, dude, you should check them out. They're pretty cool. I like their
It was
stuff.
so funny. Man, you got to listen to Hillbilly Horror Stories. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He goes, no, man, it's not what you think. I'm like, Here I am expecting to hear Bubba talk about moonshine or something, you know, and I'm like,
Let's see. I told my boyfriend when we were going to Frankmere, I'm like, I have downloaded all these podcasts. We're going to listen to them. We've got a 3.5-hour drive. Let's rock. And it comes on, and he heard This Is Hillbilly Horror Stories, and he went, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, sweetheart, this is called the Southern version of paranormal. You'll be fine. You'll fit right on in.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I like them. They're funny.
Yeah.
And now he's doing the dad jokes from Graveyard Tales.
Nice.
Yeah, see, and then like I also got into listening to Jerry and Tracy, or not Jerry Tracy, but fucking I haven't listened to him in a minute now because I just haven't had time. But Real Ghost Stories Online.
Yes.
Brewski.
Yeah.
They're right up the road from us, actually. They're only about 3 hours away
It's
from
like a hub of y'all in like 4 little states.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is that it's like I don't know. I think out here,
It's a conglomeration of shit is what it is.
well,
Yeah.
it's a big shit show. No, but out here, you know, you're out in the middle of nowhere. I know in Texas,
Yeah, what
it's
else
huge.
are we going to do? Play checkers?
Yeah, I know Texas
What?
is huge too, but like,
I mean, you got the history of those states. That's
Yeah.
a very long and deep history.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on the coast of Texas. So
Gotcha.
not only, I mean, I am 80 miles inland from Galveston, Texas.
gotcha.
So I'm literally 30 miles north of Houston.
And her address is 12346. Oh, no.
Not quite.
Just
There's a lot of those over here, but not mine.
Yeah,
And because of that, not only do I think a lot of what our problem is we get the natural disasters
yeah,
Yeah.
because we have the 1900 storm,
Uh-huh.
and that affected from Louisiana coast to just south of Houston
yeah, yeah.
with a Cat 5 hurricane. So
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of those are right there.
yeah, and what's cool about it now is that with the podcast thing is that it's getting bigger than everything else. You know, I mean, everything, news, freaking TV.
Everybody's got a podcast now.
Well, what's cool about
I
it too, though,
don't.
yeah. Well, what's cool about
But you're
that-
on one.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, you know, and what's cool about it is that even though a lot of people have podcasts, there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
There's no for us and for a lot of people, just like freaking Jerry and Tracy. There's no competition. We all,
No.
We're all here to lift each other up.
and that's what's cool. It's just like-minded people, and we all can get together.
Just
And
do this?
I did, sis.
Jesus, I can't take him anywhere.
Shit happens.
You're showing the fact you're an 80s child. Stop.
I was telling you. I was just telling him that.
You know, it's when you start doing this all the time that you got a problem.
Yeah, I was just telling him that. I was like, we were talking about 80s movies and stuff. And like,
We do this all the time.
yeah,
I do too.
yeah. But
So,
now,
hey, I got an idea.
let's talk about something.
Why don't we let her
Yep.
tell some stories?
What we get
That's what
whatever.
we got her on here for.
We're just we got her on there just to
We're
have
talking about yourself, Ryan.
I haven't really been talking too much about myself. I think I've been pretty good this time.
Just kidding. So,
Okay.
Asshole.
Galveston.
Galveston.
Tell us some creepy shit in Galveston.
Oh, I can tell you some creepy shit about Galveston. Well, first of all, Galveston is unique because if you stand, the seawall has been raised by 15 feet. If you stand at the base of that seawall, that's how high the island used to be.
Wow.
And because of that, it was basically, I think they said it was like 4 feet above sea level. So when the 1900 storm came through, it pushed everything inland that was wood, and pretty much the Strand and Broadway Street, which is the main street through Galveston, survived. Why? Because everybody else's homes created a debris field.
Wow.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. See, and there's a lot of
It
depth
was
there,
a
huh?
15-foot storm surge over the island.
No. So Galveston's
And-
actually an island.
Yes, it actually is a full island connected to Houston by a bridge.
Nice.
And then if you want to go eastward, you have to go a ferry. You
Wow.
take a 30-minute ferry ride to Bolivar.
That's pretty
And Galveston is originally it was a little bit smaller because you had the port that came right up on the Strand. But when they rebuilt the seawall, they expanded out about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah,
So they added a quarter mile to it.
So I'm assuming there's a lot of death in that storm.
Oh,
3,525 people that they know of.
wow.
Not just for Galveston, but for all of the area.
Yeah. See, and I was talking, it kind of brings up, talking about hauntings and haunted places. Sometimes it's not necessarily it's the land that's haunted. So you've got all that energy there.
With Galveston, when you drive down Broadway, you're driving over dead bodies.
That's crazy.
They ran out of place. Yeah, they ran the ones they could not identify. They originally took them out to sea, and they floated back in. So that didn't work. So they started either burying them right there, along in front of houses, wherever, or they burned them and mixed them into the soil.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that happens. Well, that's what was it? Which pen was it? The one in Jefferson City that they had the mass grave.
Yeah.
They had a mass grave just underneath the foundation.
Missouri State Penitentiary, there's a mass grave underneath the north parking lot, I think it is.
And so what happens is Galveston, you have several buildings that are extremely old that are original to Galveston. One of them being what's left of John Lafitte's house. He burned it to the ground before he left. So his foundation's still there. You have a building called the Ewing Building that belongs to UTMB College of Medicine, that a face is on it. And I have seen the face personally as they were sandblasting it. And it was appearing on the sheet of concrete above it. As they're sandblasting. It's like a big concrete building with the concrete slabs, like 12 by 12 foot slabs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they were sandblasting it. It was on the second story in the corner. They were sandblasting it, and it was appearing above it as we were standing there.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Wherever they were sandblasting it, that was appearing above it.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and they don't know who the face belongs to. There's a bunch of rumors, but there's no actual proof of who it is.
Okay.
There's stories that it's Mr. Moody, who was part of Galveston. He was part of creating Galveston. You had the Moodys and the Seeleys. They were kind of like the Hatfields and McCoys of Galveston.
Gotcha.
Except with money.
Yeah.
They were rich. Their houses mimic each other. One's a little bigger than the other. One has more stained glass. And they pretty much ran all of Galveston.
Yeah.
So what happened is that some of the rumors are that it's either Mr. Moody or Mr. Seeley. But there's no concrete evidence of who the face is.
Wow.
Some even say it's a murder victim that is portraying his murderer's face.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stories. And there's been weird things that happen. They actually had to shut it off. You can't get to it no more because a lady was in her car and it was in park. Her keys were not in the car. And the car went into neutral and went into the water and she drowned.
Wow. So, how difficult would it be to get to some of these places if we plan to make a trip?
In Galveston, the only one you can't get to is the Ewing building now.
Gotcha.
That's the one they blocked off. You can still get to the lighthouse, the Bolivar Lighthouse. They do tours of it. Most of the homes they do historical tours on. All the cemeteries are open. And all of Galveston's pretty much open. I mean, you can walk through the Walmart where the old orphanage used to be.
Trust me, wow. I've walked around Walmart here, and there's plenty of scary shit there.
Oh, no. This one, where the old orphanage used to be in the 1900 storm, it was, what happened was these two nuns tied up 8 of the orphans, 2 of them, and they were sucked out of the building, and they drowned.
That's fucking horrible.
And the Walmart was built over where the orphanage is now.
Wow.
So it is not unusual to go through the toy department and things move or mechanics come on their own.
See, I wonder.
That's cool.
That just reminded me of a fucking Unsolved Mysteries episode I seen one time about it was a Toys R Us store, and the guy was closing up or whatever, and he said, and it showed. I remember the reenactment. It had like a little train set up in the middle of the fucking aisle, and it was going.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, that just reminded me of that one. But see, and that's the thing. Like places like Texas is so big, and there's been so much. What's the word I'm looking for? Trauma there, basically on the lane.
Destruction and insanity. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that's what's cool about it. My thing is that I really want to go to these places and check them out and do some investigations. But I also know that you got to be, like for us, I would have to bring some security with us just because you just never know.
It would probably be a blanket.
Might tickle me, Elmo.
You'll be good. I've got Onyx. I've got Sage. You're good.
Nice.
I've got AR-15s and
You won't have that problem down here.
yeah.
Galveston still only if you drive through Houston proper, and you just stay on the freeway. You're good.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. When we do this, that'll be a big trip for us.
When we go on a trip, Ryan's packing heat and I'm packing snacks.
Yes. Yes.
I pack both. So we're good.
There you go.
I'm just glad that Texas is a carry state, so I'll be able to fucking.
That is true. We are.
So tell us about this lighthouse.
Bolivar Lighthouse survived the 1900 storm. It is currently, actually, matter of fact, two of my friends' great-grandparents survived the 1900 storm in the lighthouse.
Oh, shit. Wow. That's awesome.
They survived their wedding night in the lighthouse.
Holy crap.
That's cool as shit.
They were actually...
just married, survived a hurricane.
Yeah, they had gotten married the day before they were about to go on their honeymoon, and they ended up having to go to the lighthouse because the train was blown over by a wave.
Wow.
Because the train tracks used to go along the edge of Bolivar. There's no train tracks there anymore. They're now inland. And they all ran to the lighthouse because the lighthouse keeper, it was the only thing they could see in the wind and the rain. And the lighthouse keeper got them all in there from the train, the survivors, and they survived the 1900 storm halfway up the lighthouse.
Wow.
That'd be so crazy.
And there are pictures of them on their 20th wedding anniversary. They went back to the lighthouse and stood in front of it.
That's cool.
And took pictures. And
so,
I was wow.
I got a question.
Okay.
I know you lived all around Texas, mostly. What's the most haunted spot you've lived in?
I would have to say, actually, for me, it's a toss-up between Fort Worth and here. It's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah. Because I know that, I guess I'd probably say, what do they consider the most haunted spot in Texas?
They kind of bounce around between San Antonio because you have all the missions and the Alamo.
Uh-huh.
But I've been to all of those, and I've never had an experience at any of them, ever. Yeah. There are places out in far west Texas. There's an entire ghost town in far west Texas. Oh, yeah. Literally, it's a ghost town from the 1800s. And now, granted, this was back when I was 8. And it was completely abandoned and looked like they had all just disappeared. There were still coats hanging in the doors and stuff. We found it by accident.
Yep.
Yeah, this was creepy because it was in the middle of the desert of Texas, out toward Big Bend. And we happened upon it by accident. We were just driving down the road, took a wrong turn, and drove up on it. My dad was like, "Oh, this would be cool to explore." And I'm like going, no, it's not. Not cool.
See, that's me. All right, let's stop the car.
Well,
stop the car. I want to get out.
My problem was that at 8, I was extremely open. There were no filters between me and whatever plane that the dead are on. And I literally could see people walking around. But they weren't in the right clothing. They weren't in our clothing. They were in old clothing. And I'm like, Dad, no, we don't belong here. we are interrupting something.
See, that'd be cool.
Wow.
That's where I want to go.
Well, it was like the whole town was all busy, like they were living there, and I could see them. And my dad's like, it's a ghost town, and I'm like, quite literally, Dad, it's a ghost town. And
You are correct.
I'm like, they are not happy we are here because they're all staring at us, and they are not happy. Let's go.
Yeah.
But no, he had to go look around, and it got weird because the wind picked up where there was no wind. And the clouds rolled in. And I was like, a storm's coming. Let's go. Come on. Get the car. Let's go.
Yeah, that'd be cool as shit.
Oh,
That was not cool at 8 years old when you see that and you don't know what you're seeing. Now I'm like, well, that would be kind of cool to go back and try it out. But, my brain at 8 was like, this is not normal.
Overload, yeah.
It's like my brain went into shock for 30 seconds. And my dad's like, come on. You want to? No, I don't, Dad. I want to stay in the car where I'm safe, but from the glass to us.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, I guess at 8, that probably would have been a little weird.
Well, see, my parents and my grandparents never did it's just your imagination. I used to see my great-grandfather in my grandmother's home. And I'd be like, it's Grandpa Noble. He's walking around and he's mad at us because we didn't put our clothes up. Because our clothes would move. And my grandmother didn't do it. The kids didn't do it. But they would be like all hung up in the morning.
Hell yeah.
And I'd tell my grandmother, why did Grandpa Noble put her clothes up? And she would be like, because you didn't do what you were told. So he was doing it for you. She never said, it's just your imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't have those filters as kids. Every child in my family had some kind of sixth sense, I would pick up people's emotions before they even, got out of their cars in the driveway. I would be like, my aunt's mad. I'm leaving the room. And she would come in storming, slamming doors. And my grandmother was like, well, she's mad. You're right. Mm-hmm. And she never said it's your imagination. My dad goes on if his gut feeling tells him don't get on a plane, he's not getting on a plane.
Mm-hmm. I've seen Final Destination too.
This is way before Final Destination. Actually, we nearly were in a plane crash. We were flying from San Antonio to Fort Worth. And we were only going for a weekend. And we were going to get on the plane. And my dad goes, no, we're going to rent a car. We're going to drive up. We're not getting on this plane. And about halfway, we hit Austin. And we had it on AM radio because my dad we used to listen to Coast to Coast AM. Mm-hmm. And my dad goes, it broke
Big
in.
Show.
It broke in breaking news that the flight we were on crashed in Dallas.
Wow.
It was hit by a microburst and only 3 people, the stewardesses, survived it.
Wow.
After that, I never questioned my dad going, no, we're not doing this. I'm just like, okay, let's go his plan.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So we missed our opportunity to ask her the big question.
What big question?
About if you believe in ghosts.
Yes, I believe in ghosts.
Well, we kind of already
we
knew
kind of figured that out.
Yeah,
but,
I believe in ghosts. I believe in witches. I believe in various religions.
So,
I don't jack with voodoo dolls.
Do you know anybody who practices Wicca?
Not Wicca, but paganism.
I would even like
we
to
would
talk
be
to them.
interested in that. We're going to have a complete conversation about that at some point.
Yes. I mean, we've already been on here for what? Almost an hour now?
Yeah. Well, look to the right.
right there.
I do all the altar stuff. Yeah. I have the tapestry, everything. I do the tarot cards. I've been a practicing pagan for 20 years.
Yeah, see,
nice.
Like, I'm like, was it 46% Irish? And I've always felt connected to more of a, paganistic kind of way
the
of
Druids
life.
and the Gaelics.
Yeah, and so I'm
just call you?
Yeah.
Druids and Gaelics.
Gaelic. But, no, we got to get you back on for that conversation, just to talk about paganism and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have friends that practice anywhere from Nordic religions to Italian. I have no friends that do voodoo. I've been to New Orleans a couple of times, and there's mucho respect for that. And I do a little bit of Native
Put
American.
your ex on Marie Laveau's grave?
No, I have not. I have not gotten to do that. When we went, it was 9:00 at night, and we were going to Bourbon Street, and that was it.
Hell yeah,
Time
party
to
on.
get drunk.
And the best thing that I got to see was my one thing I always wanted to see when I went to New Orleans. I was like, nope, not quite.
No. She sees those every day.
Yeah, I have my own thinking.
Yeah.
I wish I
And
did.
no, you don't.
He's got
No,
big
you
old
don't.
puffy nipples, too.
You would have back problems, trust me. Because you want bigger and better. So you end
Yeah.
up with back problems.
That's the story of our life.
Yeah. It's been the story of mine, too.
She's like, who the fuck am I talking to?
No, the sad thing is this is like having a conversation with my boyfriend, which makes it even worse.
Yep.
He's going to walk in the room and be like, what the hell is going on in here?
No, he if he was actually here, it would be worse because he would just be feeding it.
Yep.
He really would. We've already been
Nice.
stereotyped in New Hampshire, so that was fun. And he just ran with it, and it took 6 hours, and they never figured it out.
Oh,
They
God.
thought we rode horses. They thought we had a ranch and an oil rig. And the best part about it, he left hints because they were like, what's your ranch's name? South Fork.
Nice. Fucking Dallas all the way.
Exactly. And they were literally trying to pawn their
My name's
children
J.R.
off on
Ewing.
us. He literally told him, the guy asked us how many cattle did we have to get out to get the truck from Dallas to New Hampshire. And literally, my other half tells them, only 2. And they were big. And I'm like, oh, Lord. They thought we had a 150,000 acre ranch.
Nice.
I'm like, do you realize how big that actually is, people?
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah. I've been, and see, he feeds stuff like that. So this is normal right now.
Okay, all right, cool.
You know, I'm actually being good because my mind hits gutter and just keeps going.
You don't have to be good on this show. This
I'm
isn't
in the
Jerry
eighth-
Pauly's show.
Yeah, I sit in the 8th layer of gutter daily. Okay, I'm the one that drives down the road and goes, good God, can she pack that any tighter into her outfit?
Yeah, but I'm
I said
down.
that about Ryan when he walked in tonight.
Happens. Happens.
We all have those
How do you
days.
pack that thing in there?
Thank God for Manscaped.
Speaking of which,
Nice segue in there.
yeah. I said, how you pack all that in those pants? What's it take to get into them things? He said, you could start by buying me a drink.
Yes.
I said, no.
Sweet
I'm the
talk.
one. Hey, I'm the one that told. I'm the one that told one of my friends. You know, it takes. What was it? It takes 3 layers of baby oil and a really, really, really good shoehorn to get my pants on.
Nice. Nice. Hell
And
yeah.
I managed to do it while they were drinking coffee, so they ended up wearing their coffee.
Yeah, that's the best. I like scaring shit out of people when they're doing things that shouldn't be scaring people when they're doing it.
That would be my,
So,
that's my daughter when she walks in a room because she comes up behind me and just stands there. And then I'll turn around. She's right there. I'm like, don't do that.
I do that to my wife all the time.
Well, she keeps telling me she's waiting to see if the life insurance policy will actually work.
what's crazy is when you're laying in bed and you're like, man, I feel like somebody's looking at me, and you roll over and the kid's standing right beside the bed just staring at you.
That is my daughter
doing?
growing up.
Especially we don't have any kids.
Yeah.
That would
What
be
is
all
it
my
you
neighbors.
say all the time? There's nothing better than the sound of children's laughter until it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you don't have kids.
Or well, that and you live in an apartment. That's even worse.
But yeah, I gotta say, I definitely want to get you on again. We'll schedule it out. We'll talk before we hang up.
Yeah.
But yeah, to talk about paganism, I definitely want to get into that.
Yeah, for sure.
And we want to talk some more about some Texas stuff, things like that.
Yeah. For sure. So, I just had some off the wall stuff. So, where is the weirdest place you've ever been?
Weirdest or scariest? Or both?
Both.
That would be Demon's Road.
We just heard about that.
Yeah.
We were
Demon's
just-
Road is in Huntsville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is 45 minutes north of me. I I had a friend that lived there, lived in Huntsville, and gets a little weird, but I was at her house for a party, and I had a couple of glasses of wine, and we all got to talking about haunted places in the area, because I'm not from Huntsville. And she was like, yeah, there's this cemetery up the road. And I'm like, okay, so what's so special about the cemetery? And she's like, you have to see it to believe it. And I'm like, okay, maybe some other time, because I never trust see it or believe it when I've been drinking.
Right.
So we go out looking for other parties, and it's Huntsville. You have pastor parties.
Yep.
So all the clubs were closed, so we were looking for the pastor parties, and there were none. So she starts going down this road, and it's a dirt road. Part of it's dirt road, part of it's concrete, and the trees overline the road.
So that was that road.
Now,
yeah,
for you people that don't know what she's talking about, I'm pretty sure you're talking about Bowden Road.
Yes.
Yes.
It's called Bowden Road in Huntsville, Texas, but everybody calls it Demon's Road. And when you pull up on this road, there's an abandoned house on the corner on each end of this road.
Okay.
And there are people that live on this road, but they live so far back that you don't really see the houses.
Okay.
And you go down this road, and this is a moonless night, and I'm stupid enough to let her drive my car. She turns the headlights off. My first response is, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Turn them damn lights back on.
This is my only mode of transportation. You wreck my car into a tree, I've got no excuse. And she's like, chill, calm. And I'm like, no, you're driving my car without headlights. And she goes, look out the window, stupid. So I look out the window. The road is glowing. It's not like glow stick glowing.
Right.
It's like that soft white light type glow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, it's the moon. So I roll down my window and I look up, and there is no moon. It's a moonless night. All you see is stars. We are in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm sober, but that's freaky. Yeah. And I literally looked at her and went, what did you put in my drink? And she goes, I didn't put nothing in your drink. I'm like, yes, you did. You put something in my drink. She's like, no, I didn't. So we keep going down this road, and the car is tugging. So I figure it's because of the dirt. You know, dirt road, sedan, it's going to tug on the dirt. And we turn left onto this road, and it's covered in pine needles. The only part of the road that's covered in pine needles, it leads up to a cemetery. And we get out of the car. She points the headlights at the chain link fence. And we get out of the car, and I'm like, is this what you were talking about? And she's like, yeah, it is. So it's a summer night in Texas. You have every bug you can think of making noise. There's a soft breeze, and you can feel the wind. And, it sounds like, the crickets and the locusts are having a heyday. And we walk into the cemetery gates. There's not a sound. It just died.
Yeah.
It literally died. There was nothing. You look up, and the trees are swaying, but there's no wind. You don't feel it. Wow. But you hear no crickets, no bats, no nothing. And she's wandering around the cemetery. There's a bench. I use my lighter to make sure that it's not a headstone. And I sit down, and I'm looking toward the back of the cemetery, and she's out there, I could see her flicking her lighter, reading the headstones. I'm in awe that there's no sound.
Right.
I'm sitting here going, whoa. And I feel completely peaceful inside a cemetery in the middle of the night. And I can occasionally off to my left see like little flashes of light. So I figure it's light bugs. And come to find out later it's not. And we stay there for like 2 hours, and then we leave. And as soon as you open the gate and you step outside that cemetery wall, all the crickets, locusts, bugs, and mosquitoes decided to ascend. And I felt the wind again. And I'm like, whoa, that's weird. So we drive back, And I'm like, okay, that was kind of cool. I'd like to have another experience. So I go back a couple more times with her. And then I told my daughter about it. My daughter's like, well, I want to see it. Okay. So I take my daughter, one of my friends, her 2-year-old, no, not her 2-year-old, her son, who was the same age as my daughter. And we drive down the road. And the car's jerking harder this time. And it felt different. I don't know how to explain it. It felt almost like it was a little bit ticked off.
Okay.
Like the whole road was ticked off because it was a stronger glow. And the wind was harder, but there was no storms.
Right.
I mean, this is just a summer evening in Texas. Usually there's no wind. And it felt like the wind was blowing it like 40 miles an hour. We go through the cemetery and everything, and it's the same feeling. Nobody hears anything. It's dead silent. You step back out, and it's quiet. You know, it's noisy again. And we leave. Well, I had to go get my car worked on. And I got my brakes, done and checked.
Mm-hmm.
And when they rolled up my car, the guy comes in and he asked me, he goes, why do you have handprints under your car? Who's been under your car working on it? And I'm like, nobody's been under my car in 2.5 years. I've driven that car through floodwater and everything else. There shouldn't be fingerprints anywhere. And he goes, no, there's fingerprints. And I was like, you're kidding, right? He goes, no, come here, let me show you. There are literally handprints that look like this around the axle of my car.
Wow.
On either side, like a huge person had grabbed either side by the wheel and had been hanging on.
Holy shit.
Like they had been doing push-ups with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, strike that in the odd column. And we end up going to Fort Worth. We have my friend's 2-year-old daughter, she was 8, my 8-year-old daughter and her 8-year-old godbrother with us. And when we came back from Dallas, there was a wreck on 45. And I'm like, well, I cut through Bowden Road. It connects. It'll kick me past the wreck. Well, we drove down it, and we get about halfway down. We're halfway to where the cemetery is. And this is like a 10-mile road. I want to say it's about 10 miles total. And my goddaughter, who's 2, was sitting in the middle seat in the back in her car seat, and she starts coughing. And I'm like, what's wrong, sweetie? Do you need water? She's like, please tell the man to stop choking me.
Whoa.
That is exactly what she says. And her voice is all hoarse, like she's been hacking up her lung or something. And she goes, please tell the man to stop choking me.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, gas pedal, go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is no longer good because my godson looked in the back window and screamed. And I'm like, do I even look in the rearview mirror right now, or do I just concentrate on the road? And he goes, there's a man on the back of the car.
Holy shit.
Wow.
And I'm like, gas pedal, go.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
am now doing about 50 down this dirt road. And my daughter looks off to her left, and she goes, and this is like a cornfield. It's a huge corn or wheat, some kind of tall, stocky thing. And she starts going, oh, God, Mom. Oh, God, Mom. I'm like, what? She goes, there's torches in the field. And I went, what? And I looked to my left, and through the rows as you're going, you could see the torches, but there were no bodies. There's no one holding this. And I'm like, gas pedal, go. And we get... And my friend in the front seat is currently having utter conniption fits. And she's like, this whole road's trying to kill my kids. Get off this road. I'm like, I'm trying. And we get off the road, and it all stops. And we stop at this gas station that's, you turn left on a road, and it takes you up to the feeder road. And there's a gas station. It was closed. But I'm like, I can get in the trunk and get the kids some water and, get out of the car, smoke a cigarette, calm down. Maybe buy a beer so I can drink it when I get home. And the gas station's closed. So I'm digging around in the trunk to get the cooler out for the kids. And I hear a voice behind me, and the guy goes, kids having a bad night? And I'm like, well, yeah. And I turn around and I don't see the person. It doesn't register that there's a person there. So I figured he'd gone to his truck. And so I turned back around and kept doing it. And he goes, I see you went down Bowden Road. And I turn around. There's no one there. I'm like, okay, I'm having conversations with nothing. My brain is freaking out.
So it sounds like whatever it is more active or more when there's kids around.
Oh, it gets worse because literally I shut the trunk of my car. There's 2 perfect handprints on the back window on either side of where my goddaughter's sitting.
Holy shit.
And I'm talking male size handprints.
Yeah, it sounds like it's after children.
Yeah.
Yeah, because whatever it was followed us home. For 2 years, all my electronics would turn on and off by themselves.
Oh, shit.
Holy cow.
Anytime you said anything, anytime my daughter would walk in a room, nothing would work. Like the VCR would pop videotapes out when it was off and unplugged.
Damn.
The TV came on and it was unplugged. I was like, I'm living in Poltergeist. This is not cool.
Yeah.
It didn't follow us when we moved because I had a friend sage all my furniture before I moved to Beaumont. So it didn't follow. And I did kill that VCR very viciously with a sledgehammer and the TV.
She went all office space on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it really did scare me because I've lived in between cemeteries in neighborhoods for years. And I'm used to when storms run through or certain times of the year of seeing the shadows come through. They just come through and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never had one take up residence in the house and go, hey, how you doing? I'm going to pop here for a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
If it's not family, I don't know. It doesn't normally stay in my home.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out so bad that the last time I went to Demon's Road was 2003. And I have not been back since.
Wow.
So what you're saying is you want to go back there.
Actually, strangely enough, me and my daughter have been talking about going back.
All right, Ryan and I are coming down.
Time to party.
So I got to say, this is absolutely kick-ass that you're telling this story. And the reason why is because last year we did an episode on creepy cemeteries. And this cemetery came up. The name of the cemetery is Martha Chapel Cemetery.
Correct.
Have you seen the Google images of the cemetery?
Yes.
So there is a really creepy photo on the internet right now of the Google Street View going past the cemetery. You can actually see into the cemetery and you can see a little girl peeking out from around a tree.
Yes.
Very creepy. Mm-hmm. This is kick-ass that you told the story.
What's crazy about that cemetery is you cannot find any history on that cemetery at all. The bodies that are there, you can look them up. You can find where they were born. You can find the fact that they died there, and that's it.
Right.
It is supposed to be a town that was there. You can't find any history on it.
Wow. Do you happen to remember what the dates on the tombstones were? Did you look at them enough?
Yeah, the latest I had seen at the time was 1910, I think was the latest.
Okay, so early
seen.
1900s. Yeah.
And then the earliest death date I saw was 1835.
Wow. Wow.
Now, I know if it is correct, I have a friend that used to do, he called himself a cemetery stalker, but basically he wanted to be a paranormal investigator. He would go into different cemeteries. He actually found a whole nother burial ground on the backside of Martha Chapel.
Okay.
That is Native American. It is not. It is not. And it's colony.
That could possibly explain some of the.
A lot of it, yes.
Yeah.
And it can also explain why I felt comfortable inside the cemetery.
Right.
But not outside.
Right.
Because I have Cherokee and Blackfoot in me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So they may have sensed that I was calming and I wasn't there to harm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That may have been part of it, because I've had other experiences. I've had experiences in the old Jeff Davis Hospital when it was abandoned. That is buried. That's over an Indian burial ground. They found that out.
Okay.
And also, they mass buried tuberculosis patients under it.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah, that happens a lot.
we're going to get in these conversations, but I don't want to be here all night long.
Yes, you do. Yes,
I
he
would
does.
love to be, but I have to be up at like way early, at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wuss.
So, yeah, no, but I don't want to rush through these.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to rush those to those.
Somewhere in my stuff, and right now I'm currently moving, so like all my hard drives and stuff are currently packed up. But I'm going through my hard drive. Somewhere I have the pictures that my friend took on an instant camera at Martha Chapel.
Nice.
Cool.
You ever come across those, you need to send them to me.
I am desperately trying to find them because there are faces in them.
Hell yeah.
I mean, he snapped it on an instant Polaroid, so you know it can't be altered.
Awesome.
And one quick note, if y'all have to go, as far as the 1900 storm,
I got all night.
well, this is quick and kind of really interesting. The Hurricane Ike happened 108 years, and let's see, 5 days after the 1900 storm.
Dang.
Wow.
We were down there 2 weeks before Ike hit. And
I used
every
to listen
picture,
to a radio station, 108.5.
every picture I have from that night on a digital camera has orbs in it.
Wow.
Every picture. And it could be dust, it could be whatever, but a lot of them are really, really bright and really, really perfectly circular.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing about orbs. I'm not a big orb person, but I have seen a lot of photos of orbs, and some of these are very interesting because they actually look like they emit light.
Well, video is better for me than pictures of orbs,
right?
Because if you can tell that something has a distinct own light source, it's moving erratically and not in a path. It's usually a good sign of an orb. Bugs you can tell when they're fluttering. Video is better for me, just so I can, Well,
I found it interesting just because of the fact that, first of all, we were walking through cemeteries that are open down there, and it was like every cemetery we went to was almost foggy and hazy.
Yeah.
And it was strange because the island felt different. It's almost like they knew something was coming.
Oh, yeah.
The island itself knew something was coming, because normally I get on Galveston Island, I'm like, peace out, chill, relax, have fun. That night, I was anxious. I was like, every time we get on the road, I was waiting for that car wreck. You're waiting for that cop to pull you over for no reason. You're just like, and that was my whole night. I didn't really enjoy the night because I was so anxious.
That's a whole nother conversation, too, about freaking stuff being
think
synchronized.
Well, I think it was just a warning from the island of, hey, you need to get off. Something's coming.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
That's crazy.
I found it very interesting.
I see a lot of more conversations coming.
Yeah. Karen, you got to do this again with us, man. This was very fun.
Anytime. Just let me do it after the 9th because I got to move.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah.
I'm moving into
you can
a
get a
house.
hold of us anytime.
Yeah, we finally bought a house, so y'all gave me an excuse to take a break from moving.
Nice.
Don't hang up. We'll say bye after we
Don't
do our
hang
little.
up. Yeah,
Not
we're
a
gonna
problem.
end this episode, guys. We want to thank Karen for joining us tonight. She has had some really cool experiences.
Yeah, and we're gonna have more conversations.
Yeah, we're gonna have
so.
even more in-depth conversations with her.
So, thank you again, and thanks, Horror Fan, for being out there for us. We love you guys. Yeah, you guys know that.
Yeah.
But more importantly, as always, until next time,
Keep it creepy.